let's go into the intel, because here we didn't even think we were going to have to do a call tonight, and here we are. We're going to do a short call. So let's just say this. Many of us were looking, and I'll just cut right to it, many of us were looking for a speech by Abadi tonight, even tonight. His speech, he did make a speech that was aired at 2:15 Eastern today that did get aired, and it was seen in Iraq on these Jumbotron TVs as sort of a simulcast. Now that occurred over 9 different Jumbotrons in 9 provinces. They did add 2 since Tuesday's call. They had 7. We found they added 2 more. So that was done, and that was sort of for the Iraqi people. That was a message that I don't have the content on it, but my understanding was that was the message to the Iraqi people about the RV of the dinar. Okay? Now, I couldn't tell you exactly what was in it because, of course, I didn't see it. It wasn't broadcast for us to see. What we were looking for was an announcement to be made to the world from the United Nations that Abadi was supposed to do, and his timing for that was pushed back 4 times today. And it kept getting pushed back, kept getting new times for it. And then finally, it was supposed to air at between 7 and 7:15 Eastern Time and be completed by around 8 o'clock because he had a 45-minute window to make that. Now, my understanding so far at this time is that he did not make that announcement tonight. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. I think the fact that it kept getting pushed back till like 7:15 in that time frame was maybe they were doing some things behind the scenes. There was probably some additional negotiations going on, backdoor stuff, all of that behind the scenes. But we don't know exactly why it didn't go, or if it's been rescheduled to go at another time. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I was thinking, man, it's going to be late. Even if it goes at 7 o'clock Eastern, that's going to be what? That would be, 2 in the morning in Iraq. I thought, I know they'd chill and be out there watching it, and celebrating, because today was to be a holiday for them, actually, because of these speeches and transmission coming from the UN. So they were out there with lawn chairs and umbrellas, and then I'm sure they probably took the umbrellas down when the sun went down, but they were ready to watch, ready to go, ready to enjoy it. Now, my understanding was also, talking about Iraq, that, remember how we talked about the ATMs were up? It ends up that the ATMs were not all live everywhere throughout Iraq. There are still some areas where they had not been turned on. And my understanding was that 6 hours after that speech tonight, that we don't know what happened to it, that the ATMs would be put into play all over the country, now, which would have been tomorrow morning probably in Iraq. Now, here's the thing. Did everything occur that needed to occur for this to go? It's a very valid question. We think, based on what Abadi did do today, that with that announcement, that took care of it from their perspective. Now, does the rest of the world know what they needed to know and hear that 45-minute speech that he was supposed to make that kept getting pushed back? It could be that speech was actually given, not aired, and will be aired at some time. It could be just aired later or aired at an appropriate time. I don't know, guys. I'm speculating, and I don't like speculating. I don't like doing that. I like giving you some things that are factual, that are definitive, okay? And I know that's what you like about the intel, is that it has meaning and it's real. So that's a question mark right now for me. When we go beyond that, we know that there were certain things that needed to be done. There were certain countries that needed for their currencies to be asset-backed. And there were 3 countries this afternoon that still needed to declare their currency to be asset-backed. And those 3 countries were Afghanistan, Vietnam, and Russia. Those 3. And I don't know whether they have made that declaration and said that that is the case for them yet, or whether that's something that we still have to look forward to. Remember, I said on Tuesday's call that come 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night, the 24th, this Sunday, any currency that is not asset-backed will be dropped from any trading platforms and dropped from the Forex. So obviously Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Russia will want to have their currencies to be asset-backed before then. And like I said, it may be just a matter of time. Something may be being agreed to behind the scenes, and there may be just a certain protocol to bringing those countries out in a certain order. You know, I know that for us, we were one of the 4 that were waiting for our currency to be declared asset-backed. And yesterday afternoon, the president signed an executive order to take care of our currency as the USN, our new dollar, being asset-backed, which is, you know, partially gold plus other assets backing our currency. That would take care of the end of the fiat dollar, the end of the petrodollar, and essentially the restoration of our republic form of government. And all of that took place with the executive order yesterday afternoon. And that was very, very positive to find that and get the details about that. So in terms of where we are, I believe we're at the point where things got very, very quiet starting at about 7:15 p.m. tonight Eastern Time, because we just really don't know where the announcement went from Abadi and whether or not it's something that's in the schedule and it's been rescheduled that we just don't know yet. So I hate that I can't bring that to you right now in more detail. So we do know that some of the larger funding sources were sent money wired from China, and that took place, and that was en route, and that basically they're in a position to start funding projects very, very shortly. And my thinking is they could start funding almost at any moment now. When it comes to the boxes of bonds that were opened at midnight the night before last, that would have been what, Tuesday night? Tuesday night they opened, and that allowed them to go through, check the provenance on these bonds, go through the verification process on them, get everything to be in preparation to begin to pay those out. That paying out of those bond transactions is supposed to occur after we get started in the exchange process. Okay? So they've already started the idea of verification of the information about the bonds, the provenance of the bonds, and so on. That started 2 nights ago. The other thing that we have is that redemption centers have been given authorization to begin our transactions at the redemption centers. We have almost full personnel in Texas and in Florida, and we have the levels to where there's still a few more personnel needed as of this afternoon for those 2 states, those redemption centers. But my understanding is they are at the level where the go-ahead has been given so that they are prepared to begin to do exchanges. Authorized was the word. Authorized to begin to exchange. So in order for us to proceed and go forward with the exchange process, we need the notification to come so that we can get an 800 number to call to set our appointments to begin the process. And that's really where we are. We're still waiting to receive that toll-free number so that we can put that out and have that available on our website, and then put it out a few other places online and be able to get started with this whole process. So in terms of what has happened since Tuesday, that's basically where we are since Tuesday night's call. And we're in the process of waiting again for what shouldn't be too much longer. And I can't call it and say it's here and we have it now, but we have a lot of new things that happened yesterday with our own USN presidential order that took place, and with what's happened today with that, I'm going to call it the announcement of a body to the Iraqi people that happened earlier in the afternoon. But there's still probably a few more things. We have to see whether or not Vietnam and Afghanistan and Russia have declared to be asset-backed yet. I think that's one other thing that we're looking to have happen. But we are right there, guys, where we're coming up to the end, and we should be able to get started here pretty shortly in due season. So I'm very positive about where we are. I am a little disappointed that we didn't get a little bit more information and get the proof of a body's speech to the world, to all of the nations. He had like 136 media outlets that the speech was to go out to from the United Nations today. This was the speech to the world. And so we'll see what happened to that. But, that's where we are. That's where we are. Rates are still continuing to go up. I know the Zim rate went up a little bit more today, and it's still at a great position, great place. And I'm just excited because I think it's just a matter of time now for us to get what we're looking for, and that is the notification to begin to exchange. I'm trying to think of anything relevant that's additional to what we had from Tuesday night's call. And I'm telling you, there's not a whole lot else that I can think of. So I'm going to say, I'm going to try to do this call in an hour, and I've got like a minute to go. So I'm going to say, if Pastor Stephen is here, Pastor, I'm going to ask you.